Give it up for Oz Pearlman.
Thank you.
His videos on social media just blow everyone's minds.
Show us what you wrote.
Freaking me out, dude.
Everyone said, turn around what you all wrote down and look at each other. What?
How did you get that?
Oz says he's not a mind reader. According to him, he just reads people.
Who are you thinking of?
Vince.
Vince.
Yes. No.
Oh my gosh.
My book is not going to teach you to be a mentalist. I want to empower you. Think like a mentalist.
Oh my God.
He's right.
I'm going to snap my fingers. Are you believing this? No.
How did he do that?
I don't even know.
My name is Katherine. I'm a senior reporter here at Newsweek, and on stage with me is Oz Pearlman.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
One of the big things about your work is that you say you don't read minds, you read people.
Right.
And I'm wondering for you, what is that difference?
So to me, the term reading someone's mind sounds supernatural and not grounded in science. And I don't have any supernatural powers. I don't claim to be a psychic. Nothing of talking to the dead or anything like that. Everything I do is repeatable, explainable, and built on scientific principles. The same way that you know that when you see a magician cut a woman in half, he's not really cutting her in half. There's a trick to it. So in much the same sense, there is a trick to what I do, except the problem is when you watch it, there's no props. So when you see a magician and you see a card trick, you know there's sleight of hand involved. They're moving in a way where I don't see it or there's misdirection. I have kind of boiled it down and distilled the essence of magic. It's magic of the mind is what mentalism is, to know how people think, how they behave, and influence their thoughts. So it looks like real mind reading.
Great. And I know you've said that intelligent people are some of the easiest people to read. I'm wondering who are some of the hardest?
That works to your advantage because if I fool you, you're like, that means I'm intelligent. I love that. I have no idea how he's doing it. I'm a genius. It's funny how that works to my advantage. But the hardest people to read, honestly, that's a difficult question, but children can be very challenging because they don't have behavioral norms. Anyone who doesn't fit a behavioral norm is in de facto unpredictable, and predictability is very important to what I do.
So how does that play into, I know you have 5 kids.
I do.
I
I like how some of you were more impressed by that. They're like, how is that possible in New York City?
Can you kind of play to that when you're like trying to get them to behave a certain way or do certain things?
There's some level of, I would call it some mentalism involved, like mentalism light, where I play tricks on them, where I give different options and I guide them in a direction, but they are immune to a lot of my charms. They've been around it for too long. But getting inside the mind of a child, you kind of see the way they think and what makes them tick. And think about it, as you're a kid, everything is magical. Everything is like, you just take them in and look at the butterflies, look at this. Their brains function differently than adults who become more regimented. And so I wish, that'll be my next book, Penguin Random House, Mentalism for raising kids. It's not there yet, but it is useful for entertaining them and sometimes getting them to think that they thought something, which is very useful in everyday life. In corporate America, if you can think that the person you work with got the idea themselves, they'll do much better. The best salespeople never sell you. They get you to sell yourself.
Mm-hmm. Every day, we're all reading people, but
We all
obviously not as well as you are. So I'm wondering what, most of us are misreading when it comes to the regular people in our life.
I think there's 2 parts to that question that are really important. I think it's not only reading others, but actually knowing what's going on in your brain and getting inside your own head that's holding you back from success. Because in most instances, I think that if you can analyze from a mile-high perspective, and again, success is one of those terms. Success might be different for you, than me. Everyone has a different level of ambition, drive. It might not even be monetary or career. This could be maybe you want to meet the love of your life, settle down, and have 5 kids if you're insane. But anything along those lines is, how do you achieve those goals? And I found early on that fear of rejection, fear of failure, doom more dreams than anything else. It's the fear of what will happen when it goes wrong that actually doesn't allow you to take the steps to get to where you want to go. And if I can give you an example from here, not to like overly sell it, when I was 14 years old, I got my first gig as a magician. I was doing this for 1 year, and I walked to a restaurant half a mile from my house in Metro Detroit. I stole her next question. She's like, damn it, Oz, you're reading my mind. That's what I was about to ask you about. And how I got the confidence to do this is beyond me. It's a fake it till you make it. I explain that too. But in this restaurant, people were not nice. If I walked up to you, you have a babysitter, you're literally, having dinner, and some 14-year-old kid comes up and says like, hey, want to see a trick? You're like, no, man, get out of here. And that hurt. I'm not immune to pain. And so at a very young age, I learned this tactic of, if I keep getting this rejection and this fear of the next rejection, it actually hurts me from doing my job. I can't go to the third table after 2 people reject me. I'm just mad. So I figured out I need a way to deflect this. I need a way to kind of like solve this problem. And again, if you right now are, let's say, an A-list movie star, you have an agent, and the agent handles all the conversations that you don't want to handle. Contract negotiations, my agent is bad cop. I'm good cop. But most of us don't have agents in our life. Where am I going with this? When I would get that rejection, I didn't absorb it as myself, Oz Pearlman, this person where it hurts me. I created this alter ego, you could call it an agent, you could call it Oz the magician, where I assign the blame to this other person. They don't know me. They don't like my tricks. They don't like this, or maybe they had a bad day. Maybe their kid's sick. Maybe all of these other things happened, so that when I walked up to the next table, I was immune from that feeling, which is the feeling that takes so many of us and says, I'm not gonna try for this because what if it goes wrong? And so I was able to deflect that pain, which is not new agey. I mean this literally. It allows you to open doors that you wouldn't, because otherwise you just get caught in this spiral of every time somebody says no to you, you believe the no. No, they don't want me. No, it's a not yet in my book. I will find a way to get through. I will win them over later, or maybe it wasn't the right moment. But that has been, I think, one of the key facets of my success is once I decide on something, I will be relentless and I will not be fearful of just rejection or failure. 1 step forward, 2 steps back means I'm still moving forward.
I know that you said you're relentless, but I'm sure there are some people who maybe don't feel like they have the discipline or the willpower to do certain things. And for things like New Year's resolutions,
Sure.
These aren't things where maybe there's rejection or another person involved. Do you have kind of any tips for how we can tap into our own minds to kind of approach those things?
100%. So if we break down where things go wrong, when you say willpower, I think willpower is very rarely the culprit. It's staying power. It's willpower is consistency means doing things over and over, even when things go wrong. You start a diet, day 3, you just have like a blowout. You're like, screw it, I'm just eating a pint of Haagen-Dazs. I'm done with this. And you set yourself back and you gave up that day. Knowing that what you do 90 to 95% of the time is all that matters, allowing that cheat day, whatever that is in your mind, 1 step forward, a couple steps forward, a couple steps back, you can stick with it. But it's mostly tricking your mind. I'm gonna give you a great example. I run marathons and ultra marathons. That's kind of my side hustle. And so when I used to try and get in shape for marathons, and I hated dieting, there's no part of me that likes losing 3 or 4 or 5 pounds or whatever you wanna lose. So I would never say no to myself, because that creates this moment of, screw this, I'm gonna break down, I'm just gonna blow it out and kind of go nuts. Instead, I would say, right now I'm in the mood to have ice cream. I'm having ice cream in 10 minutes or whatever your cheat thing is, but I go, before that, I'm gonna set a timer in 10 minutes. I'm gonna drink a huge glass of water, 16 ounces. I'm gonna eat a banana. That was my hack. And I'm gonna wait 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, you know what happened? I wasn't actually hungry. It's an emotional trigger. And more often than not, the things that set you back are emotional triggers. And just like a mentalist gets inside your head, you got to get inside your own head and see what's causing you to lose willpower in that moment, in that New Year's resolution. And once you cement a habit, which typically is between 2 to 3 weeks, you start getting momentum. It's self-fulfilling. Whatever you were doing, sending resumes, trying to lose weight, trying to meet somebody, dating, whatever you break through a certain portion, when you get to the part where the habit becomes ingrained, it becomes easier, not harder from that point on.
So you've actually read a lot of really famous people, but I'm wondering, when you're watching these kind of celebrities or politicians in interviews on TV, are you kind of able to tell if they're maybe thinking something different from what they're saying, or does any of that come through the screen?
I think so, absolutely. But that's what I do for a living, is I analyze people and what they're going to do, but the skills don't generalize across the board. Because otherwise, the question you should be asking is, what am I doing here? Why am I not in Las Vegas? Let's go and make millions of dollars. Let's play poker. Why would you be here right now, Oz? Because the skills that I present in my performance aren't like Superman flying. They're done within the guise of entertainment. So if I were to right now ask someone here to get a deck of cards, right now, get any card you want, look at one, don't even look at it, just think of one. Could I guess that card? 100%. I do it at shows 150 times a year. But why can't I do that at a poker table? Because when I'm doing it, there's a procedure involved. Look at me, think of this, do that, and you listen to me and you do it. Versus at a poker table, no one's gonna sit there and be like, look at me, think red, think, they're gonna be, no, they're gonna play poker. So it's done in a framework where I'm the director. Just like in a movie, I point the camera where I want, so the skills don't apply where I can always tell you if someone's lying or telling the truth. But if they allow me to do my process, statistically, I will be way, way, way higher than a coin flip.
Well, have you ever watched someone and thought like, that's not the whole story, and then
Yes.
later on it's come out that you were right?
Yeah, many times. I mean, in every show. Literally, I try to deduce things that people say, there's no way you're gonna get this.
Okay, should we see some of this mentalism for ourselves?
All right. So I want you to go kind of under the surface here, and I wanna see how Katherine will think in the moment. There's two things that if I ask you about, most people, the more options I give, the harder the choice becomes: food and travel. If I'm like, who feels like Thai food right now? Many be like, I feel like Thai. Then I'm like, well, who feels like Italian? Same people, but I kind of feel like Italian too, right? The more options I give you, the more things you want to do. Travel is the same way, where you want to go everywhere. Imagine that in your pocket, you have an itinerary, okay? And in your pocket, you take this out and you go, where am I going? Oh my God. And you, right now, close your eyes, and I want to see yourself as if right now you unfold this, you say, I know where I'm going. Maybe you've been to this place before, or maybe you haven't. True story, there's no way I could know, could I?
No.
Notice when she answered the question. I said, maybe you've been there before, maybe you haven't, and I wanted to see how quickly did she answer. How quickly? There was a hesitancy. There was a part of her that went, did I mess this up? She's like, should I have gone somewhere that I hadn't gone? She's like, oh, I should have been more adventurous. Close your eyes. Can everyone see that? If so, say yes. Yes. Open your eyes. Have you been to this place before?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, see, I could tell. See, that was the disappointment. But now that Katherine was called out, did you see there was a flickering? There was what I like to call shifty eyes. Deliberation. That question before of, oh, Thai food or Italian? What do I feel like? Close your eyes again. It's not my first rodeo.
I'm like trying to listen to him to see if I can tell what he's writing down.
Open your eyes, open your eyes. I know what happened, right? When I said to you, look at the itinerary, boom, you had a place, and then I called you out on it, and you're like, oh, I've been there before. So you've gone, and you were debating, and it was a place you haven't been before as well, is that correct?
One I have been to, one I have not.
Told you. And tell us, what was the place,
I don't even know what's happening
before you
right
changed your mind, you changed your mind, I could tell, I knew you'd been to one and not the other. What was the first place you thought of?
now. Mexico City.
And then tell me, where did you go from there? Right in the moment, you changed your mind, you were put on the spot, where did you decide to go to? You're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, it was too obvious. Where did you think of?
LA.
And now you ask yourself, well, is it because I said the thing about Thai food and Italian? Did that get in her mind? Did that drive her into a direction of a different cuisine? What if we continue? We make things spontaneous. You are in LA. Let's make this up as we go. How many days are you in LA for?
4.
Did you just make that up? Did everyone see? You can always tell when somebody's authentic because she went 4, right? You can tell the decision is being made in the moment. Morning, afternoon, night. Give me a time frame. You're in LA. You're there for 4 days. Is this morning, afternoon, or night? Give me like a sense.
Morning.
Morning. Breakfast or after breakfast?
After breakfast.
You're out and about. You're out and about. You are walking around. You're having a great day, perfect weather, not like this. And suddenly, You go back in time, you bump into someone, you're like, oh my God, what are you doing here? Somebody you have not thought of in years. Can you picture this person's face right now? Can you see this person's face?
Yes.
When was the last time you had even thought of this person? Days, months, or years?
Maybe like years, like a year?
So the skeptics, you can see the people in the crowd who are not smiling, arms crossed, slightly angry at me, are gonna later say, he must have looked her up. He must have gone on a sleuthing expedition, Facebook, Instagram, X. Is there any way I could have found out who in the world would have popped in your mind?
No.
No chance, right?
No.
I think it's a female. Is it a female?
Yeah.
Like if it was a guy, typically a hair touch. Don't know why. You're in LA, you're making this up, 4th day, morning, it's just after breakfast, you see this person, you're like, oh my God, what are you doing here? I want you to imagine right when we shake hands, switch the other hand, that you see each other and you go, I can't believe you're here. Right at that, Ariel, is her name Ariel?
No. Yeah.
Don't hold the applause inside, Newsweek, let it out, let it out.
I'm in disbelief.